up, me and welcome to On the Block with Jen. We are back. We left you for a week. Mama was on a family vacay. Lily was doing her. Haran thought he escaped the rest of the work on the block with Jen. No Saint was, I don't know, pulling a cat out of a tree, I presume, out in New Orleans. I went to New Orleans. I did get to see No Saint. We had quite a dinner, though I hated everything that they brought out.
Oh my God.
We got through. Yeah, I didn't like it, Lily. I didn't like the food. I like the tiramisu, but tiramisu is easy, and it's hard to get tiramisu wrong.
It really is.
It really, although the strawberries could have been fresher, but I digress. This is not about me tonight. This is about welcome back to the block, mi gente. So happy to see everybody. I'm very excited. I'm well rested. I'm more focused than ever. I was already super focused. I'm super focused now, so I'm happy to be back. You guys know the rules. Look at our names on the screen. Please follow us. Lily and I have a fucking dope ass show coming next week called Sisterhood Sips. Okay, please follow the pages on Instagram and YouTube and all of that. Our first episode is Transgender Woman Took My Man. Lily and I will be divulging all the secrets when we found out we dated the same guy. So yeah, we tear him apart a little bit. We compare notes, right? When I was with him and when she was with him. Very interesting first episode. That's how we coming at you. And that's coming next week. Sisterhood Sips. Okay. Check my community section. I will be updating you guys. And Lily needed a sip behind that.
Because, honey, I just remember some of the things we said.
Yeah, it's tea. It's tea. If you ever wanted to hear what it's like for a man to be both with a transgender woman and a cisgender woman, we spilling it all. Now, we don't know how he would feel, right? Because this is our version of it.
He can always come and tell his story.
He can. It's an open.
We left room for him.
We sure the hell did. And if he doesn't, we fucking covered it. All right, guys, don't forget the rules are the same, mi gente. Cash App on the block with Jen. If you want to support the show and you happen to see us back, hit us right there. You know, when you Cash App me, I get to keep all the money for my smoothie versus super chats, which I enjoy as well. But, you know, YouTube takes a big chunk because they're pimping us all on this bitch. We're glad to see you. We got some fluff tonight. We got an interesting story off of Michael Irvin's desk, which I thought was hilarious. And it includes liberals, too. I think I got to include liberals in this because, you know, I got to throw a jab or two, right, No Saint? Yeah.
He needed a sip, too.
Yeah, he needed a sip. Everybody needs sips tonight. All right, guys, hold us down. Chat, you know what to do. Does anyone have anything to say before we get to talking?
Wow, the people been acting up this week. I'm ready to talk about them.
That's about the only thing that I got to say.
Are we sick of Jada already? Are we sick of her? Because I'm sick of her. I'm nauseated at this point. Every time I see that scallywag pop up, I'm sick of her. What are you guys feeling about the new developments and the one? I mean, she's literally on a tour.
And listen, I checked out when we didn't have to do any research for the show. So I was like, listen, I get to be out of this. But I was catching bits and pieces via headlines. Is it true that Will spoke out and was just kind of like nonchalant about it? That's a true statement?
Oh, Will spoke out about it, you know, holding her tightly, saying she's his bestest friend in the whole wide world, and he's going to support her no matter what, which goes back to what I said before. Everybody's feeling sorry for Will. He is a willing participant. He is not a victim. He is not being held prisoner. He is all in with this fool. It's a clown-ass family. We need to move on. What say you, Lily?
Well, that's the reason why I asked that question, because I'm never going to get more upset than the actual quote unquote victim is. Even though I never saw him as a victim, I just saw him as somebody that knew how to keep his mouth shut better than her. But I saw them as birds of a feather flocking together. So
he's a cuck. Next story. I mean, come on, if you're willingly getting plugged in public. She's pegging you in public, and you're saying more. I can't wait to have more. Like I'm not standing behind a guy like that. And while we're at it, cancel the Bad Boys movie. I don't want to see that shit. You know what I mean?
The Bad Boys movie too.
Just kill Mike Lowry. Just say he died somewhere. I don't know. I can't watch that shit and suspend disbelief Because in my mind, I'm like, this dude just, as he's dodging bullets and shooting people and slapping motherfuckers up and getting on some fucking Bishop Shakur shit. You know what I mean? I'm sitting there like, but this dude is just getting railed out by his wife. I just can't immerse myself in it.
Well, I got to give you pushback, Haran. I got to give you pushback, okay? We all love the comics, yeah? We love Marvel. We love DC. We sit in there with our Superman t-shirts and our Wakanda t-shirts.
Yeah.
We're all in. We suspend disbelief that a guy could fly up and move shit, cars and buildings with his hands. You can't suspend disbelief for Bad Boys?
Robert Downey Jr. didn't get plugged by his wife, man. He's like Tony Stark off camera too. He's like, it's like, nah, I can't do it, man. I just can't. Like, Chris Evans is still a gentleman. He still gets chicks off, camera. It's like Will is just, I can't do it, man. I just can't do it.
Okay.
I
What say you? What say you?
Well, we don't know if we don't know what people are doing in their bedroom. First of all, it's just not known.
That's the problem.
It's just not known. But listen. George Takei once said, "It's acting, right? It's acting. You don't know." Like when he puts on this dog's gonna go. Hold on. You don't know that when he's putting on his. Oh wow, he doesn't have that accent, or he doesn't sound like that because he's acting. So I get it. It's a little bit more difficult because we're getting people's business, and we really don't need to know it, but they're putting it out there anyway, and it is affecting the way people feel about certain things. I mean, we even see that in politics, unfortunately. Like everybody wants to tell you what they believe in, and then suddenly. Yeah, in this environment, you start saying, "Oh, maybe I don't like that person," But before you had no idea. You had no idea what they thought, right? So it is kind of becoming a problem as far as what he's going through. Yeah, I mean, it's hard to feel sorry for him when he keeps on coming to the rescue. And at this point, you're just saying, "Well, all right, maybe he likes the abuse. Maybe that's something that he likes. Maybe he likes being humiliated in public. I don't know. It's a little crazy."
I just want to go back to a time where men just were fucking quiet. They were stoic. They went home. They went where they went. They came and they brought the money. Nobody asked fucking questions. She knew what he was doing, but as long as the house was taken care of, boom.
Unavailable. We
need to get back to emotionally unavailable men who were strong, who did what they needed to do, and America shifted forward. We are here because of generations of unemotionally available men. And they've created a situation of so much safety where now we are so lazy and greedy and fat and corpulent where all we got to do is be
calm down, ladies, calm down. Let me ask you a question, Haran. What about this particular is perturbing you? What about it particular? Because obviously they're too goofies, in my opinion. It's been settled. The jury is back in. They're too goofies. But what exactly about it perturbs you? Like, this is just a goofy couple. Is it that you felt like, do you feel bamboozled? Like that you thought he was a certain type of man and it turned out he wasn't? What about this in particular? I just think she's annoying. I loathe seeing manipulators I'm like, it's like the monster on the wing, the Twilight Zone. It's like, you don't see what's going on. All right, now I'm to the point where you don't see it. Fine, I hope you go down with the plane at this point, because it's like, it's obvious she's playing the game. It's obvious she's lying on camera. It's like she's really playing with people's intelligence. That's what annoys me. And it's like, get the bitch, you're not as smart as you think you are. Get the fuck out my face.
So here's the thing. I feel like we have seen the last of the great movie star, the great celebrity, right? And what I mean, like the Will Smiths in his prime, and the Robert Downey Jr.'s, and the Meryl Streeps, and the thespians, and all of those, right? I feel like that's done. That part of Hollywood is now done. Why?
Hey, Lily, don't be talking about me on Tubi, okay? I'm on Tubi and Amazon and Stars, White People Money, and also The Bad Girls too. I play a Colombiana drug dealer. Lily, don't come for us Tubi actors.
No, see that's going to be the new actor. But listen, this is the thing. Tubi, I'm telling y'all might want to put some stock in Tubi because I feel like Miss Tubi gonna come through and swoop through like Netflix did, and take over some things. But what I'm gonna say is the reason why we're no longer gonna have the big, movie star that we just revered and admired, and just because they have brought themselves down to the regular person's level. They have brought
Mm,
themselves down to TikTok user number 003895, right?
good point.
Um, they have brought themselves down to Instagram user because they overshare. It's
Oof.
like they want to be normal while normal people want to be them. And somewhere along the line with this machine, we all met in the middle. We're
I love
here.
I love that explanation because I mean it's perfect. We used to want to be them. They wanted to be normal. Well, now this is fucking normal, bitch. Not everybody's telling you go fuck yourself. And we used to look at you like the elite. You had so much prestige. And now, do you think this is a fall from grace?
Yes. I feel like this
It's
is
like the
a lot of will.
it's like the song says. What if God was one of us?
What
You
if
know what I mean?
God was one of us?
You know what I mean?
Just as
Like it's like after a while, like you have a particular perception of somebody, and then they're sitting down and they're just blubbering their guts to you, and they're telling you about their childhood and all that, and you're just like, ugh. You know what I mean? I like you better when you were when you were mysterious and out of reach. Like,
so.
Yeah,
I like
So
that.
this is don't meet your heroes on steroids.
Absolutely, absolutely.
There
Like
you
I
go.
didn't want to hear. I didn't want to hear this shit, man.
Mm.
yeah. I think this really goes. If you think about it, I mean, and it is. It's the social. It's access to all these people that you didn't really have access to before, and then it started really getting. I'd probably, you can think back to 2003 when the Dixie Chicks said over in England that they were ashamed that Bush was the president or from Texas or whatever, and then they got all kinds of backlash from
Mhm.
the country fans, and and so people don't want to hear like you don't want to hear, and then it turned into like you know one time or another, and then the Kaepernick was kneeling, and then that pissed people off, and then when he wasn't kneeling, that pissed a different part of people off. People seeing your political views or how you feel or whatever they want to whatever spin they want to put on it to get mad at you, they do. And back when I was growing up, you just didn't know. You didn't know what people thought. Unless you met your athletes and then say, "Oh, that guy was kind of mean or or nice," but you didn't know other than that. You just knew about what they thought about football. You know what I mean? So it's kind of that's where we're at.
To blessed be he, honey. I am a thespian. Put your listening ears on. You can catch me on Tubi, Amazon Prime, Stars. I'm in White People Money. I'm also in The Bag Girls 2, as in secure the bag. I'm a thespian, darling. Did I graduate? Yes. School of Hard Knocks, summa cum laude. Next question. Okay, so going back to something Lily said, fall from grace. These people used to be icons. I interviewed Big Daddy Kane. That's also coming next week. And I did ask him, has the hip hop icon died? Will there ever be more like, say, him and Rakim and KRS-One and Jay-Z? Is that over? If you want to hear what he said, check out our interview next week. Had to plug that real quick.
Very
Okay.
interesting.
Yeah.
Just
So,
want to
say again?
just want to say something real quick. Y'all gonna
Mhm.
stop sleeping on Tubi. Tubi is the shit. Okay, Tubi is the shit. On the
Hey, I
Get
got
some
low.
paid.
stock. Get some stock. Get some stock, y'all. Seriously, they're gonna swoop in.
Anyway, go ahead.
Manny Lynn says sisterhood will take over table talk. You damn right, honey. Sisterhood sips coming next week. That is a one-on-one, very sexy girl talk only with Lily and I. That's coming next week too. Ooh, that first episode, Lily. I was watching the playback on the plane. I was like,
Did
I
we say
love,
what we said?
I love. There's gonna be a lot of questions. There's gonna be a lot of questions behind that. We may have to do summa cum laude, darling. He says summa cum what? All right, guys. So enough of Jada. They are sappy and sickening. I'm done with her. I don't know what else all she can say. after this, I mean, you know, and it's funny because someone on Facebook, and then we'll get out of here, but someone on Facebook said, Jen, I actually got the book. It's pretty good. Are you going to read it? Here's the thing. Time is so precious.
Right.
And that woman hasn't accomplished anything. She hasn't achieved anything that would inspire me or move me to emotion. If I'm going to spend time watching a thing or reading a thing, I'm being educated, I'm being moved, or I'm interested in somebody's life. These two have vomited their life for fucking years on that red table. As far as I'm concerned, she's a breeder, an actress that stopped acting because her man was more famous than her. She decided to, you know what I mean, take kids. There's nothing, and I mean zero, zip, zilch, nothing, nada about Jada Pinkett Smith's life that I want to know. Nothing. I don't like her as a parent. I don't like her as a wife. I don't like her as a daughter. So there is nothing in that book that I want to read. You guys have at it. Okay. Hope it's successful for her. I'm sure it's going to be. I won't be reading that fucking book. There's nothing about Jada's life I want to fucking know. She's a cornball to me. She's a goofy. She's a phony. And her and Will could have at it. All right. Till that the fucking table turns purple for all I care. All right, guys. So let's get into the story. This story was interesting. It made me chuckle. Okay. NFL legend Michael Irvin puts his son's rap career on blast. On Blizzy Blast. I got the video. I want you to see what he says. All right. I thought this was hilarious, but this is something that we know. Okay. Because we know a poser when we see one. Now, the average person will be like, oh, we're like, motherfucker, don't even belong over here. You know, we know. So we're probably going to teach y'all that tonight. This is what Michael Irvin said. This shit was so fucking funny to me. He seemed perturbed. I like that word. Don't I, Haran? Perturbed. Perturbed.
I got a son. He raps. His rap name is Tut Tarantino. If you ever listen to some of his raps, I'm like, oh my God. Where does this come from, son? You grew up in a gated community your whole life, but he's rapping my life because we romanticize and fantasize about that old thug life, ghetto life, and all of that stuff. When we used to work to get away from it, now we've gotten to a place somehow we're running back towards it.
Damn. Does he got a collection plate or something? He got a church or something he passed it over? Because that was a word. Hallelujah. I need more parents to come out to blast their faking ass children. Because this is ridiculous. Like, out of all the things you want to pose as, this is what you want to pose as.
But why would he want to pose as?
That is a very good question, and I got a lot of answers to it. You want to answer? You want me to begin?
I would just love to hear everyone else's answer, because of all the things that he could pose as in order to connect with his blackness, because obviously he feels disconnected from it. Why would he want to connect to that?
Interesting point.
Two things.
What's the question?
Attention and profit.
No, I don't think that's it.
But he's rich.
That's the point that I'm making. Profit what?
Attention. Attention is profit. Attention is currency these days.
I need to know how old is he?
I don't know.
Do we know?
We don't know. I am going to pull up his work so you guys can see it. It's quite colorful.
I'm scared.
I mean, I just want to say the reason I ask is because if he's like 18 and he's living at home, he's lived with wealth, but I don't know if it's his money. So I don't know. Is he rich? I mean, that's what I'm asking. Like, how old is he?
But the thing is, attention is like the number one currency these days, because we see.
He looks of age. He looks of age. 18, maybe 19, maybe 20, around there. If I had to guess, I'd say 18 to 20.
It could be. I mean, if it's attention, the kid could have been a comedian. He could tap dance. He could do whatever. He could do stupid shit. I mean,
I get your point. I get your point, Haran. Like, why play a thug when there's so many ways to get attention, especially in this social media era?
That's true. I guess that's the easiest one. All you got to do is talk about bodies you never caught, hoes you never fuck. Like that's real easy. You don't even have to have talent anymore. That's an easy one to go for. Like if I'm going to pick all the things because you got the hoe is easy, you know, you just bend over and pat your pussy, or you could just be a gangster. Because those are the two of the easiest ones to pretend to be on social media, is what I'm guessing. Neither one of them take talent.
I mean, I really think that we're at a point, maybe we've always been at this point, where rapping is like acting and people go into fantasy. Maybe he's going into like his fantasy of being this bad, you know, this person that's a thug, because he's not, right? And then if he raps about the way he grew up, nobody's going to buy it. It's like, you know, it's like somebody singing in a choir and somebody singing about sex. What's going to sell more? Person in the choir? Depends, I guess, but very rare. Or the person talking about sex. That's going to sell more. So he can't rap about being behind a gated community and how he went to private school, you know, and he wants to rap, right? He wants to rap. But it's like an act. I mean, it's like we've talked about this a lot of times, how like these country stars, they're not riding on horses on a farm and they're not living the life they're doing either. And even if it's positive or negative.
Don't come from my Cowboys, you know what I'm saying?
Right. And the stuff that they're rapping about is not.
We're dancing around the issue here, okay? This kid doing this shit is no different. We're dancing around the issue. Let's get down to brass tacks, because we need to have a serious conversation. He's doing that shit because he essentially believes that is black culture. This is no different from a white person putting on blackface. Okay? Period. I let y'all dance around the shit, but this is nothing. If this was a white child from the same financial demographic doing the same shit, it'd be no different. It'd be no different.
I feel like my father just walked in the room and said, "Everybody cut it the fuck out."
It's okay because at the end of the day, he's a black person. And no matter what financial demographic you are, if you behave like that, no one's going to call you out on it, because that is what blackness is perceived as in America. Period.
Shit. Okay.
Yeah.
So let's explore a little bit here.
So we're going to go with culture, black culture.
Yes, he's perceiving that to be black culture. Because in black culture, if you have money, if you have anything, you are not perceived as black. Black is struggle. Black is degradation. Black is dysfunction. So the only way he can connect to his blackness is to behave in that said manner. That's it.
Okay. Oh my God, we are in the weeds now. Holy fuck. So let me ask you this. On a Saturday. So let me ask you this, Haran. In the hood, where we are from, do people, hold on to your asses, liberals, in the hood where we're from, do you think even when us colored people don't have to choose that life, we choose it because it is attractive? No different than people naming themselves after mobsters, Gotti, Capone, you know,
Noriega.
Is it just Noriega? You know what I mean? Do we in the hood choose degeneracy because it's just cooler than being the kid that goes to school? That was deep. You said blackface. So can a person be in cultural degeneracy blackface? Is that what you're saying?
Yes, absolutely. Even if phenotypically this is a black person. Yes, it is the same fucking thing. It is the same thing. You do not come from that background. You have no concept of what that world is. I saw the video. He doesn't even know how to shoot straight. You know what I mean? He doesn't, you know what I mean? He literally is disconnected from you saw the disgust on his father's face?
Yes.
You saw that shit? Like he basically said, like, how could you do that? You pussy.
Kari's not having it.
Yeah, I love what Kari said. But
Kari's not having it.
But not just that, y'all. Like, this man's dad, I'm talking about dad, done worked hard to make sure that his son didn't have the struggle in life that he had. And you're gonna, after all that, You gonna get your ass up on these good people's internet and portray some shit that I worked hard to keep you away from. Yeah, I would be disgusted too. And yes, he does deserve a diss track from
I don't
Dad.
know. I don't want to sound like Kanye, but it sounded like degeneracy is a choice.
It
It
is.
is.
Doesn't sound like it's an environment or happenstance. It sounds like it's a choice.
I'm gonna
It
tell you
is.
how I know
It
it's a
is.
choice. My entire family comes from the worst part of DC. All of them, from my dad's side. Um, and none of them are there anymore. They all worked hard to get out and to keep their children away from it, right? They chose, all of them chose to do that. Um, and then there were people that they grew up that chose not to do that, right?
Let me tell you
Um,
something. I'm sorry, Leland. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
no, I was just saying.
Are
So
you,
it's a choice.
look, listen. Our parents, our OGs, they showed us one thing that we did not take with us. You can be poor, but damn it, you can choose to look broke. Because a lot of our parents, we came from poor homes, but I'd be damned if my mother did not find some way to dress to the nines.
Okay. Oh, my grandmother was not playing. She was like, I don't care if you have $1 in your pocket, you better look like $1,000,000 when you walk out the door. No rollers. My grandmother was on the no. My grandmother was on the no fucking bonnets way back in the
About to say,
80s. She didn't even understand. She could not understand why we would buy jeans with holes in them already. She was like, wait a minute, they sold you pants with holes in them. I was like, yeah, grandma, this is like everybody's doing it. She's like, what the fuck is wrong with y'all? You buy broken clothes? You know, she had me looking at my style sideways like I did buy broken clothes. All right. Yes, Adam Hearn. Adam Hearn says, does anyone you guys can super chat me if you want to talk at me. Adam Hearn says, does anyone know about Irvin? This is his culture and lineage. He said my life. He said he's rapping about I'm gonna play it one more time before I play his son. I don't think you heard the man. He said my life.
I got a son. He raps. His rap name is Tut Tarantino. If you ever listen to some of his raps, I'm like, oh my God, where does this come from, son? You grew up in a gated community your whole life, but he's rapping my life because we romanticize and fantasize about that old thug life, ghetto life, and all of that stuff. When we used to work to get away from it, now we've gotten to a place somehow we're running back towards it.
See, okay, so romanticize that is it, and I think people in the hood, even when they don't have to, you know, they romanticize about it. So
okay.
let's take a look at his son. Yeah.
I mean, when
Now,
I heard Drake talking about whipping, flicking the wrist, I'm like,
really, Drake,
Drake.
when after Degrassi or before Degrassi rehearsals, while you were sitting in your
Give me
trailer
a
and all.
give me a timeline, Drake, because we don't believe you.
Oh my God, we are a costume. The hood is a costume. Okay, so I thought the comment was the most, and they tearing the boy up now in his comments. They are tearing this boy up in his comments, right? As they should, because it's corny. The funniest comment I saw was this nigga signed to gated community records. I thought that was the funniest shit. They say he signed to gated community records. I was like, Lord Almighty. Yeah, so they tearing the boy up. So let's take a look at it. Maybe it's not that bad.
I'm scared.
Okay, maybe it's not that bad. Let's share the screen. Let's see if No Saint would walk in this room and ask where the bathroom is or what time it is. Okay.
Okay.
Oh, Lily. Can you guys see that?
Nope.
Can you see it now?
Yeah.
Okay. You can see it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so this is Michael Irvin's gated community son, Tut Tarantino. Let's see him in his well, he looks like him. He looks like Dad. Okay, let's see
He
what he
does.
sounds like. Maybe it's not that bad.
Amazing, sometimes it feel like a maze. Bought a Smith and it's 380, bust a nigga out his frame. Water whip and chop on crazy, all this money, it's a shame. No bunny hoes in love with coke, I'm choking shorty, out no cane. The money is the fucking motor, without no way I'll move the same. I'm taking designer drugs, man, in my cups, gonna wash away the pain. I'm smoking Zaza, eating pasta, I'm a big boss, ain't kicking game. The way she showed me up, I can't help but fuck, I beat it out the frame. I'm overloaded, loaded, codeine on much smoking pole. They can't control me, water. Ain't no way that I'm folded, just you know. Shoot fading like I'm Kobe. Ain't no fan bitches here around. I'm in that Bruce Wayne, that say 240. I'm whipping it like it's stolen.
Okay, so I maybe we'll play one more video so we can hear him clearly. Can't really hear him clearly, so let's see if he
grab
sounds.
my pearls so I can clutch them.
Okay, let's see if he sounds clearer here.
Everywhere I go, I keep it mean like a sacred. Sipping out this smoke, busting off flats, me and gang them. She like, why you ain't been hitting me back? I think you changing. I'm like, why you thought I'm spinning back? You must be famous. This hoe said she don't like me no more on the meanest. Just dropped a 6 and a 2L to watch it sinking. Shop out, I'm rocking no apparel on the cleanest. Sneaky linking, I just want your mental, what you thinking? Walk down on any artist playing about the motion. Move back, see what I say gon' happen, ain't gon' happen. Draw down, right on the up, I see him out of putty.
I see the gate.
So you niggas how to get active, I'm
Okay, guys. So that is Tut Tarantino. That's Michael Irvin's son, who grew up in a gated community. Now, I will say this: great actor.
I was about to say he worked on that hood accent, the mumble.
Yeah, he got the shoulders up and
lean.
everything. He got
Yeah.
that, you know what I'm saying? Mean. I thought it was great. I thought the performance was great.
I'm here
But
for
you
it.
know what? It speaks to the fact how much of a fucking caricature we become. It's literally some clothes you could buy.
You throwing knockout blows tonight.
Like, yo, it's literally something you could just put on. Because eventually, Vanilla Ice showed that a white man can dance after a while if he pays attention to us long enough. You know what I mean? And them show he can sound decent or ill enough if he hangs around around a bunch of niggas long enough. So yeah, I can see it.
Okay, so you're saying it's a caricature. That's how much of a caricature we've become. It's funny because Meg Thee Stallion is also an educated young Black woman, and she chose to portray a stripper hoe.
Right.
But is it going back to what No Saint said? Hey, Rhapsody is amazing. Snow the Product is amazing, but nobody gives a fuck about them. They're not on the cover of Vogue.
Right. And that's why I said that's why he chose this, because this will get him attention before a lot of, like I said, either rapping like this or being the Megan Thee Stallion pretend hoe is the two easiest things to do. It really doesn't take talent. You just mumble, you do you got to do the key things. You have to have some guns, some hoes, mumble, talk about drugs, tell them how many ways you can kill somebody. Like, it's real simple and it's easy. It's just it's like a fail-proof, or not fail-proof, but you get what I'm saying. It's like it's the way to do it now.
So let's talk about Go ahead. Hold on.
On the other half of it, I totally agree with what you just said, Lily. But on the other half of it, why bitch and complain when you're getting profiled, when you're getting redlined, when you're so on and so forth? You're making sure that the brand stays steady.
Right.
You're making sure you literally have the money not to behave like this, but you said, fuck it. I'm still going to go down that road because this is the only connection I have to my Blackness. Like, you literally could be someplace else. Like, I don't know, you could be a philanthropist. I don't know what you could be. You could be doing a dozen. Look, I'll be honest about me, okay? I got involved with a lot of things in the street when I was younger out of survival, man. Out of survival. Because after a while, if you're around a bad enough element, motherfuckers gonna check your temperature. Let's just call it what it is. And if you ain't with certain things, you gonna have to deal with the consequences. Now, I didn't start out behind a gated community. I started out in the fucking mud. So there's certain things I had to fucking do. How are you behaving this way and you started out? You good? You good over there?
It was a sound.
Yeah, something went out over there. Can you hear?
I don't think.
You good? I can't hear. I can't hear that. She probably something out. You're muted right now.
We can hear.
No,
Nope.
she's muted.
Yeah.
Now we can't hear you. We can't hear you.
Oh, barely. Something came out just now.
Yeah, knocked out. She knocked.
She just wanted to blow. She just wanted a reason to blow.
Stop looking cute and make the shit work, man. Stop.
She can't help it.
You're muted. You're muted. You mute. You're muted. Talk.
I'm not muted. It's fucked up. I don't know.
No. She's.
I'm not muted.
Nah. Something happened with a mic.
Yeah.
Testing.
Okay, we gotta check this out. We might have to close out. I can't hear.
Okay, try going out and coming back in. Oh, now did you hear me? Oh, that sounded like crazy.
Yeah, she's gonna go out and come back in. She's got definitely some electronical short going on.
Like I was saying, I didn't start out in his situation, so I can't connect to why would a person who started out here wanted to behave, what would want to behave and connect with a person who started out here, And the only thing that I can grapple with is that he believes that he's supposed to behave as if he's supposed to behave as those who are down here, as if because if he doesn't, he's not connecting with his blackness. He's in some regard, and that is a bigger conversation that a lot of us really don't want to have.
Well, look at the Bo Vickies and the Bad Babies. Go on.
No, I was just going to say, I was thinking about that, Haran, and I was going to eventually bring up the fact that, he's in a gated community. He's in a gated community. I don't know how many people of color are in his gated community. So he probably goes to the best schools. He's surrounded by, probably a lot of white people. We're not the coolest people on the earth, so in order for him to get connected, maybe he feels like, okay, this is what I'm seeing. This will make me cool. It almost reminds me of like, people love playing Call of Duty. And then sometimes you'll see people come out there and they'll have a bunch of medals and they've never been in the military, but it's like they want to have that feeling that they're a soldier. You know what I mean? Or they're playing Call of Duty. They've never been to war. It's really not a lot of fun. You know what I mean? And when you were saying that, Haran, about you grew up that way, and here this guy is putting on a uniform and acting like he came from that way. That's kind of what I thought. Like you're saying, listen, it wasn't a great thing. I had to survive the way I had survived. And here you are making light of it like you want to do that, and you don't have to do that. So, yeah, I can hear where you're coming from on that.
Well, see, in addition to that, we got to look at the white people who do it as well to connect to their black.
I thought about that.
Yeah, so you look. You got exactly. That was the first person I thought of when Jen brought this to me earlier today. I said, "Oh, okay, like Tom Hate's son, right? Or like Wo Vicky or Bad Baby, right? Like when they go into hip hop, they go in and do the same exact thing because that's what we look like to the world. And this is the thing." With black people, we don't. Okay, there's nobody on the face of this earth that can have it both ways, and
Absolutely.
Especially black people. And let me be specific of what I mean by that. A black woman cannot publicly hoe around and have an image of a thought and still get respect. Ever. She won't even be able to rebrand herself. Ever. She won't be able to do a Madonna or a Tracy Lord or with Jenna Jameson or any of that. She won't be able to do that. She's gonna. You look at someone like Madonna and you look at someone like Little Kim, right? Madonna has rebranded herself 30 times over, including her entire body. So has Little Kim, but Little Kim is always going to be known for being that freak, even though she's a whole mother of a almost teenage daughter. You know, she's been with the same guy forever, right? But they will still try to brand her as that. So no, you can't have it both ways. So you have to pick a way now. Pick a way. Because now you notice with the white people, they can go back to being white after they do this.
And you know, they can go back to being white because a lot of that is associated with us. Again, it is seen as a costume. It's seen as a character. So these things can just be taken off and put to the side and called a phase. You know, again, my biggest issue here, again,
You can't hear me at all.
yeah, you're staticky.
Now you're on mute.
You're mute.
Can you hear me?
There we go.
Oh, there we go.
Okay.
All right.
So I don't know what's going on. Since I traveled with these, they got weird on me. So I don't know what's happening.
I know. I
All
need
right.
to
You
stop
we'll
traveling
have
with
to
mine.
talk about what you did with that behind the scenes. We'll figure it out.
Okay. This conversation was getting good.
Right. I mean, did you catch what we were saying? I was like, the white people do it as well. When the white people cross over to do hip hop, the Woe Vickies, the Chad was Chaz or whatever, the Bad
Whatever.
Baby, they do the hood drag as well. They do the degeneracy drag as well, right?
Hood
But they have the liberty of going back to being white, right?
And they
Black
do,
people
and they always do. And they always do.
always.
Absolutely.
And Jen,
Absolutely.
what I was saying about what Haran was saying about, I was saying like it reminds me of like the guys that play Call of Duty or the guys that go out there and they dress their uniform up like they were in the military, and it pisses off all the military. And Haran was saying how he came from that way, and here this guy is like putting on a costume, like one, and it's not as glamorous when you're in it. And these people are making it like glamorous, you know. And I can see how that would piss Haran off. You know, he's like, wait, this guy, what's he doing? You know?
It all happens in the military too, right? We spoke about this before because people are tribal. You know, when you're in it could be anything. You could be a real golfer. You could be a real athlete. You could be. It's across the board. It's not just hood shit. It's just people looking at other people that have worked to survive a thing, and then people pretending to be that thing. Of course, we're gonna call it out. We're gonna be like, "What the fuck is wrong with you?"
Like for instance, Jay, we talk and so on, and one of the biggest things now as we get older is that all the people that we know from that world, most of them didn't turn the corner. They're alcoholics, they're fucked up, they're all this, and the third. So nobody talks about the end of this. It's just the tough shit, pointing guns at the camera, the cool shit, and yada yada. But they don't talk about what's at the end of this, man. You know what I mean? People dying, people getting locked up, people, getting strung out, so on and so forth. And it's just this cycle continues. You know what I mean? And we don't have these tough conversations when it comes to the perception of us.
So, Adam Hearn, I feel naked without my microphone, for the record. So if I'm talking too loud, excuse me. Thank you for the super chat. Adam Hearn says, Bin Laden came from a rich family. Aaron Hernandez, what? Don't come for the cousin. What happened? What's wrong with Aaron Hernandez? What happened? Aaron Hernandez, though, had severe case of CTE, one of the worst on record for someone his age. Okay, they did, pry open his brain. And also, I don't think he was pretending to be a thug. I think Aaron had severe anger issues. Severe. Because if you recall, he ended up killing those guys because they bumped into him in a club and they spilled a drink on him. Okay? And they was popping a lot of shit. So Aaron Hernandez pulled up to the light and was like, what happened? Keep that same energy and stop both their clocks. And then he only stopped his friend's clock because he thought he was going to snitch about the two other clocks that he stopped. So I don't think he was out here posing a pretend. That's the story.
Well, And let's not forget that he had probably the most severe case of CTE that the guy at Boston University ever saw in a 28-year-old when they
Yeah, that she said.
autopsy.
She just said that.
Yeah, that's what I just said.
Yeah, oh, you said that. Yeah, so I mean, I think that had a lot to play more than he wasn't acting. But also, I don't get the point about the Bin Laden. Bin Laden could be rich, but he wasn't playing a part. he actually was doing shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's not. Those are two bad examples. One good example we forgot about. One good example we forgot about is Miley Cyrus.
Oh yeah, somebody. Yeah,
but you know, it's the whole list. It's Miley Cyrus, it's Woah Vicky, like Lily said. It's Woah Vicky. It's Catch Me Outside. How about that? It's her. You know,
Marky Mark. Remember Marky Mark?
Right? He hates me to call him Marky Mark now, but I'm like, no, you wore that Marky Mark, okay?
Yeah, you wore that shit like this.
But also, you know, a lot of people get mad about them acting like that. However, I'm always quite amused at how accepted and upheld they are. Everybody keys at the white girl who acts black, right? Everybody keys on the white girls dancing with the little Africans in Africa in the middle, right? It's like everybody's keying like, oh, that white girl could sing. That white girl could dance. That white boy could rap. And then when they're taking over in that particular genre, right, then it's not so funny anymore. Then it's cultural appropriation. So it's like, if they don't do it, you're excluding people of color. If they do it, you're appropriating and on their way up. Yes, girl, that white girl can dance. I've never been amused by it. I think I'm the only living human being who is not amused by Eminem. I do not uphold Eminem. When people are like, he in my top 10, he in my top 5. Out of the dozens of black rappers on the planet, dozens that kill the game, Eminem is in your top 10. Eminem is in your top 5. But then you complain about cultural appropriation. So what is it?
Okay, so I'm about to go ahead and put this out there. I'm with you, Jen. This is why I don't have a problem with racism light, and because I am exactly. We need George Cook up here because I look at racism light as self-preservation, right? And that's what us black people don't do well. We're not racist enough.
Well, black people are racist enough towards Mexicans, Puerto Ricans, Asians. They're racist enough. Let's keep it on now.
Yes, but if you white, then we're gonna just open arms and like yes, and it's just like the white worship is so real. But on the flip side, a lot of white culture, they like white people, they protect their shit. Right, like they like, and then we're like, "Oh, you're being racist." I'm like, "Well, yeah, we need to do the same damn thing, right?"
You see, after Tiger Woods won, yeah, tell him next time if he wins, don't fucking order watermelon and fried chicken. Oh my God! And he said that on camera. That white man said that on camera.
I am one to believe that racism is at the core of it is about self-preservation and power.
Yeah,
at the core of it, I do believe that's what it is.
Anyone who's that is at the top is going to do whatever they need to do to preserve their position at the top. Exactly. Okay.
Why wouldn't they put in redlining? Why wouldn't they, put in certain roadblocks? Why wouldn't they do that? This is the point that I make. Of course they're going to do that. What are you going to do to combat it?
And let me tell you how fucking sick it is, where this is like, we say people in general are tribal. Let me tell you how sick it is, because I'm always getting in verbal fisticuffs with these Puerto Rican motherfuckers, right? They'll say Puerto Ricans on the island. I'm bringing you into a little of the politics that happened. Lily, I think you already know. Puerto Ricans on the island, right, shun Puerto Ricans in Chicago or in New York, though there's a huge population in Connecticut, Chicago, even Vegas, everywhere. I went to New Orleans. There was Puerto Ricans in New Orleans, right? So, but if you're born on the island and you're Puerto Rican, right? They say, oh, you're not a real Puerto Rican because you're not on the island. You're from whatever. That's what goes on. However, Asian bitches who speak Spanish fluently, if you go to these Puerto Rican Instagram pages, they're like, look at the chinita speaking a Spanish. Go ahead, girl. She's speaking a Spanish so good. Hold up, bitch. So she's more Puerto Rican than me, who has 2 Puerto Rican parents born on the island. And I can't come in and say, this is why the fuck these colonizers keep getting over on you. Because every time somebody comes through, she speaks Spanish, go blanquito. Look at the white guy speaking Spanish, so cute. All right, then. So when you're being colonized, then shut the fuck up, because you open the door. You think it's cute. That's how people get in. That's how the pale faces got in. Isn't that right, No Saint?
Listen, I was just watching this thing about ancient tribes that still are surviving and thriving. Guess why? They didn't let the motherfuckers in till this day. And that's why they are thriving and surviving. Because they're the only ones that say, oh, hell no, we didn't heard about y'all motherfuckers. So it's just that simple. Self-preservation is a real thing. I don't have a problem with it, when there's not violence involved and things like that. Because look, right? We do the same damn thing. We just do it to each other. Like when we get into power, when we get into position of power, we don't do it to no one else but ourselves. So
look, I get it. Island-born Jamaicans hate me. They
really?
hate me. They hate
wait, is it the same in Jamaica?
No, it's the same. That
You
the
a
same
Yankee?
shit you said. It is the same. They said Yankee boy, go back a foreign. Yo, yeah, all that shit. All that shit, man. That I had all the time when I was younger.
So here's the issue I have. Again, tribalism, I get it. Even if you wave the flag, I get it. But what pisses me off is that when someone comes from a whole different culture and race, how accepted they are. That shit is ass backwards. Wouldn't you? You're supposed to accept kind of like your own before someone else. But I am telling you, there are these Asian chicks on all those Puerto Rican Instagrams. I forgot the bitch's name. And if you dare say, and I'm like, yo, bitch, well, you speak Spanish fluently, of course. And not only that, she does the caricature Puerto Rican. It's not like she's just fluent Spanish speaker, right? Because you could be a fluent Spanish speaker. She uses like our twang and our, bitch, you didn't grow up like that. You didn't grow up like that.
Listen, I'm gonna throw something out there, and I know we all come from a different background. So, but when I hear like Haran talk about, now Haran, you were actually born in Jamaica.
No, I was actually born in America.
In America, okay.
While we went to live in Jamaica after a while, and then we came back.
Okay, but you're viewed as like by them as an American, basically, like a Yankee or whatever. And Jen, you were born in New York, and I get, I kind of get it, but like when I think about things, like we have a huge French-speaking people here in Louisiana. The French people don't look at us like French, and I don't say I'm French because it's too, we have similarities in culture, but we've now broken off. We're not the same. They would never look at, like, I can go over there and say, hey, I'm French. Look at my head. They'd be like, you're not French. You know what I mean? So, I mean, I'm looking at it, especially with people in Jamaica calling Haran a Yankee. I kind of get it. He wasn't born in Jamaica, even though his stock is from Jamaica. He wasn't born in Jamaica, so they're saying, well, we're not. You were born.
There's an irony to what you're saying, because where you are in New Orleans, and where you are in New Orleans, you guys have your own culture away from the French. You know what I mean? And like in Jen's household and in my household, I was still raised Jamaican. I was still raised West Indian.
Same fucking culture, same language, same food.
Same shit. The only difference is I was born in Brooklyn. The same ideas, the same manner in which we approach work ethics, the same manner in which we approach education. You know what I mean? I'm not Americanized, but from their perspective, and it comes from it's a power thing. I'm able to step on Jamaican soil and still I'm still able to indulge in the benefits of being an American. There's a jealousy there at times. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
This is a human thing. You know what I mean?
And to bring it to throw a little, when Jen was saying something earlier about tribalism and things, and there's always that, even like what sports, like when the Saints win the Super Bowl and you see some, you weren't there in the beginning when they were like 1-15. You're not really a Saint. Well, where were you born? You were born in Florida, and you're a Saints fan. All right, man, I got you. You must have been there in the Drew Brees era. You know what I mean? We always do that, though.
No, and I understand tribalism. I'm the same. Again, but what doesn't make sense to me, right? That's like going back to your sports thing. You're like, you weren't there in the beginning. You're not a real fan or whatever. And then some guy, just because you like him or he's funny and has a red nose, is posing as a fan, and you're like, oh yeah, he gets it, but he's not even from there either. He's nowhere near. You're gonna be like, what the fuck is happening? What is happening?
What's happening is cultures around the world, okay, that have been colonized also deal with self-hate. Every single culture of color, all of them deal with self-hate, right? They deal with colorism, right? The lighter you are, if you're Puerto Rican or Indian or Black, the lighter you are, the quote unquote better you are, right? Now you got all of these cultures that are even bleaching their skin and things like that. So I'm saying all that to say they're not going to embrace someone that looks like them because they already don't even like them. But they haven't even gotten in touch with a lot of those things yet. That's all that is. That's all that's saying. It's glaringly saying that.
You have a very solid point right there, because if you think about it, when you have a conquered people, and even here in America, you know what I mean, Blacks are a conquered people. They still have a number of access to a number of opportunities and a number of things that other Blacks outside of America will never have access to. But there's still this element of being oppressed. And it's a love-hate relationship with the oppressor, because the oppressor represents power. And if you're phenotypically closer to that power source, then you are assumed to be better. Deep down, a lot of people who are oppressed and a lot of people who are conquered, their biggest shame is not only being conquered, it is that they are not on the winning team. It's like in sports. Nobody wants to be the fucking the you know what I mean. I remember for a long time, like, we'll just use basketball. Nobody wanted to be the Milwaukee Bucks. Like, it's a fucking joke. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, you might as well be on a high school team. You know what I mean? But the point of the matter is that when you are on a losing team, a consistently losing team, it does affect you psychologically. It does affect you, and you condition yourself to believe that maybe I'm a fucking loser. You know what I mean? If you allow yourself to succumb to that kind of culture and conditioning. So in many ways, it's a very complex, and it's in many ways, it's just a mind fuck, man, when it comes to power dynamics.
Let me ask you back, because before my headphones started acting dumb, I wanted to get more into like when you, Haran, you were talking about Black culture. Thank you for the super chat, Adam Hearn. Black people even let Filipinos into their gangs. Shaking my head. Well, gangs are fucked up anyway. I mean, going back to Black culture, right? I remember I said, this was a couple years back, I said Black culture is basically twerking, you know what I mean, degeneracy, blah, 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 Black culture, right? People like, no, everybody got mad, right? Everybody got really rabid, right? So let me ask you, what is Black culture? Lily, what is Black culture? What is Black culture in America? Not Jamaica, not Africa. What is Black? When someone says, I'm Black, and someone says, what's your culture do?
Well, I'm looking at when someone is cosplaying our culture, what do? They're not trying to be Michelle Obama, right? They're going to do what Black culture has become synonymous with. It's going to be degenerate hip hop, twerking, ostentatious fashion, with the label, like, you got to wear, like, be a billboard for a white designer. That's Black culture, right? The hood is Black culture, right? But if you say these things, people will argue you down. But whenever someone cosplays Black culture, these are the things that they cosplay. They're never cosplaying an upstanding citizen, right? They're never cosplaying an Obama. They're never cosplaying a damn um just name somebody who's classy. They're not cosplaying them, right? It's going to be all of those other things. We have become synonymous with degeneracy, and
Chat,
I don't know why
Well,
people don't want to see it.
chat.
I'm
Throw in the chat. Throw in the chat what state you live in, where you from, and what's Black culture to you. What say you, Haran? What's Black?
I'm gonna say something that might even sound more controversial than the shit I said earlier. Black culture is whatever white people give the green light to.
Expound.
Well, everything that you just named, Lily, how is any of that a threat to the white power structure? It's all to the benefit of the power structure.
And they finance it.
Standing, productive, straightforward Black community, that is a threat to the white power structure. That's why the whole concept of Tulsa, Oklahoma going down in flames, the other areas in, in history when Blacks were, ordered, where Blacks were actually going in the direction that they needed to be, they were sabotaged. So as long as it's not a threat to the white power structure, and they okay it, and they do what, and they give these people the platform to be whatever they need to be, then that's what Black culture is.
But then are we not stuck on what came first, the chicken or the egg, right? Because they're green lighting something that was already there.
Oh, I'm not saying that it wasn't already there, but there was something else that was already there though, too, Jen. And they made sure to squelch that shit immediately. There was always two things there. It's just
That's
conveniently, the thing that would have empowered us, they made sure that shit went down in flames.
Okay, Okay. So when we talk about the Obamas, when we talk about Kamala Harris, when we talk about Black excellence, right? Whether people like them or not, their personal feelings. Oprah is Black excellence. Whether you like her or not, she's Black
Absolutely.
excellence, right?
Absolutely.
So when you look at them, right, and you were to ask them what's Black culture, what would they say? They're not going to say Cardi B. They're not going to say Meg Thee Stallion. They're not going to say shoot 'em up, bang, bang. What do you think they would say if you would have asked one of them, what's Black culture in this country? What would they say? That's what I'm trying to get at. What would they say? And are there two separate Black cultures in this country?
They would essentially lie and say Black culture in this country is what they would want it to be, what their idea of what they would want it to be, the popular concept of Black culture that they themselves came from, that they stand on, that they represent. They would love for that to be, the popular notion. As would I. Is it the popular notion? The fuck no. And that's the hard conversation we're not having. Cardi B is a Black woman. Let's just call it what it is. Okay, you know what I mean? The gorilla, whatever the fuck these chicks are named, they are representation of Black culture. Michelle Obama, she's something nice to obtain. She's something nice to ascend to if you wanna. But are these women actually thinking about that on a daily basis and saying to themselves, "Yeah, Michelle Obama, I would love to ascend to that. That's inspiring." Out of 10, maybe 1.
So I got a question. So is it that okay? Because I want to think that we have two Black cultures, but then the more I'm thinking about this, we have the degenerate culture that is the most popular, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then we have the others, like the Obamas and the Harris and everything, that is to me is not even technically black culture. That's American culture.
I was thinking the
Very good point.
same thing. Like
Very
they're
good point.
that's a great because I was
Good
thinking the
point.
same thing. If you were to
Okay.
ask them, they're not gonna say hip hop and ham hocks. They live a whole different life. A whole
Hmm.
Okay.
different life. That's just honestly like cultureless, if you know what I mean.
And that's what I'm saying. It's cultureless. It's really just American. It's white American culture, to be honest. I was trying to leave the word white out of it, but
Mhm.
it's really white American culture.
So let me ask you something.
I
Let me
wouldn't
ask
put
you
the word
something.
white in it though.
Let me ask
Because
you something. Then. Let me ask
there's a
you
lot of
something.
white people in the trailer parks.
Let me
That's
ask you
true.
something. Can the white power structure exploit that, or that most of the time they're doing business with that? What you
They're
just
doing
explained.
business with it just like black people are doing business with it.
Exactly. But they're exploiting the degenerate side of things, right? So
So it's
it would be
network.
it would
So it's Mona
it would
Scott
be in their
Young.
best interest. They would be in their best interest. Oh, absolutely. But it would be in their best interest for that to thrive.
Okay.
Because it literally holds up a number of industries.
No, it does. It holds up the prison industrial complex is one. The
Absolutely.
the rehabs and stuff like that, because the drug
I,
culture, like we
you know
we
what I
went
mean?
from we went from just say no to I sell a lot of dope to I do a lot of dope, right? So a lot of young people are addicted to a lot of different things. That wasn't cool, but when we were growing up, it was not cool to be addicted to anything, right? Now they walk around with a double cup like it's nothing. But going back to the reason why I added the word white into it, I was trying to keep it out of it, but and someone hit on why I was going back and forth with that, because when we look at it, like we had more of a culture before integration, and then when we integrated like that, it was like we wanted to be like the winning team, a lot of us, right? So we kind of abandoned our culture and adopted the culture of the winning team, more of the Eurocentric culture. Um, because
I know what you're
we
saying.
really don't have much of a culture. We really don't. Jamaicans have a culture, Puerto Ricans have a culture, but outside of the degeneracy, like really, let's keep it a buck. Like, what do we do that's so different from other Americans, white Americans? I mean, we have our cookouts. That's dope. I mean, I'm trying, y'all. I'm trying.
I know.
Listen,
I'm
first,
thinking
I'm
of
not
that too. I'm like,
here.
what about jazz music? What about
Okay, we getting there. We getting there. We got some
yeah,
jazz.
the
Okay.
the problem is, first of all, there's a lot.
But that's African influences involved in jazz music. African influences involved in a number of, ways we do music in America. Look, listen. At the end of the day, I understand that even though I'm born here and whatever, I don't come from this culture. I just don't. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? I was not raised in this culture. I have seen, indulged, and be around this culture, but my base is Caribbean culture. You know what I mean? That is where my identity lives. So
Steve,
I understand.
Steve, Steve, if you think we have a culture, give us some examples. We've been asking for examples.
yeah? What is the culture?
Like outside of the degeneracy. Let's be fair. Like outside of the black
Talking,
degeneracy, what is black culture?
Because you even mentioned Haran, you mentioned Cardi B, right? But she's
Mhm.
Latina.
Absolutely.
However, she acts black. And then people get offended when people say, well, what does acting black look like? Well, Tukiana, Meg Thee Stallion, Nicki Minaj, that is what talking a certain way. There is such
That's
a
what I'm
thing
saying.
as acting black. There is such a
Right.
thing as acting white. There is such a thing as acting that. We all have fucking stereotypes. I'm not afraid of stereotypes. They are said for a reason. Now, if you're gonna use them in a negative way, I guess it's a bad thing. But yeah, Puerto Ricans do eat rice and beans every fucking day. I went to New Orleans, I cooked fucking rice and beans, bitch. Like that is what we eat. So I'm not afraid of stereotypes. However, Cardi B, she's Latina. However, so is Jennifer Lopez. But who do black women gravitate towards? the Latina that acts black, the Latina that twerks, the stripper, the one that's from the street, the one that got with the black man. They're not into Jennifer Lopez. So it's not a thing that, oh yeah, now we're accepting Latinas. No, the fuck you not, because you could give a rat's ass about a fucking Jennifer Lopez, but you're all about fucking Cardi B. And here's the thing, I'm into neither of them. I don't like Cardi or fucking J-Lo.
Ladies, you both were so gracious to mention that there are two sides of the community.
Yes.
We were discussing on the right, we have, the Obamas, the Michelles, the Condoleezas, and so on. Now, with that being said,
I love me some
again,
Kamala.
With that being said, again, based on the topic tonight, there's a reason why that young boy decided to side with the degenerate side. There's a reason why he decided to side with them, when ironically, economically, he's really more from the roots of the people who are on the right side, from the people who can actually change some lives, of the people who actually are from a particular tax bracket. He's closer to them than he is, to the degenerate motherfuckers.
Right.
You have to ask ourselves that question: why is he behaving like that?
Exactly. That's the point I was making. Anytime that anyone cosplays black culture, they're going to cosplay degeneracy and talking, mumbling, or just barely being able to know how to speak, or not being intelligent and things like that. Right. I haven't seen anyone give any examples. Everyone just, whenever you have this type of topic, everyone just goes, no, we have culture. Okay, give us some examples, help us out. We're really trying to, I'm trying to like really like be fair here, and I'm really thinking, I came up with the cookouts, you all, like, because that's very black. That's why we say, oh, no saint can't come to the cookout or whatever.
Let's look at the concept
Or
of
does that
culture.
come from line dancing? Wait, but black people invented cowboys.
We were the original cowboys.
It all came from Africa.
We were original.
Okay, let's look at culture. Let's look at the concept of it.
Okay, here's black.
Okay, we got some good ones. Thank you, Black Lexicon. Thank you.
He said the artwork, architecture, hairstyles, dancing, etc.
Okay, and I agree. I agree, and that's why when Haran said that jazz has roots in Africa, listen, ain't nothing that's in anywhere that doesn't have its roots from somewhere else. It's cultures building upon cultures. So, there's the Treme down here in New Orleans. There's the Mardi Gras Indians. There's a lot of in between, other than degenerate and rich. Unfortunately, degenerate and rich are the ones that get the most attention. But there's a lot of culture coming out of the black community. And we got to get the definition of culture, first of all, because to say somebody doesn't have culture. So culture is the arts and other manifestations of human intellect achievement regarded collectively. When you hear white culture, it makes me kind of laugh, because when you go over to Europe, those cultures are so different from everybody else. There's so different many cultures. But when you live in America and the dominant, not dominant is better, but the majority of people are white, it blends in. It's just bland. It becomes bland. But from somebody from another country, it doesn't look bland at all.
But we can't deny that degeneracy is
popular.
Culture.
Mm-hmm.
Yes,
it's the most popular part of black culture.
Well, popular, yeah, I'm saying that's unfortunate that the popular, the mainstream popular, that's what's making the money. But there's a lot of a lot of diverse, great culture coming out of the black community as well.
Right, but the degeneracy is so prominent.
It is.
Like Lily said, when someone wants to bank off of being black, there's no money in acting like Kamala. There's money in the twerk, the talking black, what happened? Doing that shit, the BBLs, the braids, there's more money in that. So you have to say that is black culture to a certain extent. Now, of course, you're going to find black people that can't stand hip hop, don't even watch TV. Okay. Don't even, you know what I mean? but they're not. When we say it's just not as loud, is it not? Is it that it's just not as loud, or it's just not the fucking culture?
And is it not because
It's not the. It's just not the fucking culture. That's why it's not that loud because it's not.
isn't it supply and demand too? So that's why it's not that loud because the people aren't demanding
Yeah.
more of the Obamas and Kamalas.
Yeah.
They're not. That's not what the people are demanding.
I saw that
It's also
commercial that Jen
easier.
talks about, the commercial with
Ice
the
Spice.
Ice Spice. And the first thing I thought was, wow, she doesn't sound anything like she sounds in that song. She sounded quite proper when she spoke in that commercial. It was a little bit crazy. I never heard her regular voice. I only heard what Jen does with her song.
I mean,
The Munch song.
let's
The
look at
Munch
it.
song.
Let's look at it what it is. I mean, to be an Ice Spice or a Cardi B, I mean, come on, that doesn't require that much work. That if we're talking about long hanging fruit here, I mean, let's just call it what it is. However, to be Obama, you know how much fucking work it takes to be 50% of Barack Obama. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? How much work it goes into that? How lucky you'd have to be to come from the streets of Chicago and have his background and become the president of the United States. I don't give a fuck what your politics are. I don't give a shit. You know what I mean? That's a hell of a fucking accomplishment, man. A hell of a fucking accomplishment. Now, when we're discussing, when we're discussing culture, one of the things that we need to discuss is also traditions. There's a lexicon, of course, the lexicon being, well, he talks black, she talks black, so on and so forth. There's habits, there's music, so on and so forth, or whatever. So these are the things that I wanted people to talk about, because when you talk about those things, then we have the tough conversation. Well, then what's the lexicon? Is the lexicon, Michelle Obama, or is it Cardi B? See, it's easy to see. Honestly, it's easy to say art, music, dance, blah blah blah, shit like that. That's anything. That's kind of that's par for the course. But when you get down to the meat and potatoes of it, and you say things like style of dress, okay, what is the style of dress?
Woo! Don't get me started on that right now. That's painful. When I go outside. When I go outside these days and see the style of dress of Black people versus when we were growing up, and the pride and the class and we just had so much pride in our dress, right? And now it's just painful to watch. What happened?
That takes me back. Hold on. That takes me back to the choice. I think this kid, this Tut Tarantino, is a great example. And Tarantino, isn't that an Italian last name? Tarantino?
Yeah. There we go again.
He's all fucked up. So
they never take a Black last name. They never Zulu or no shit like that.
For what? So going back to this kid, it is a choice. It's a choice to be a degenerate. Now, of course, it's a lucrative choice. I have to disagree with Adam Hearn, and here's why. Adam Hearn says you can say the same thing with Jamaican culture: weed, violence, twerking, poverty, and anti-LGBT. Here's why I have to disagree with this. Because I said before, every single race and ethnicity has an underbelly. Every single one of us has that neighborhood where we live. We're like, I am not fucking with shit. In our own families, we got some relatives that are like, you're a degenerate. Do not come to the barbecue, right? However, Jamaicans are not synonymous with weed, violence, twerking. No, Black culture in America is. Black culture in America is. That is why that kid, Tut Tarantino, grew up rich and decided, that is why he decided that. Because that's what's synonymous with Black culture in this country. Michelle Obama is not Black culture. She's a successful American woman married to the president. She is that is Black culture. I keep asking. You guys say art, music, dance. Give us examples.
Outside of twerking, outside of drill music, pussy music.
Well, I just gotta ask a quick question, because if degeneracy and all these things are intertwined in the culture, then that comes along with poverty and so on and so forth. At some point in time, if a black person or any, black or brown person reaches a certain level economically, are they expected to break away from the culture, quote unquote?
I was about to say we can close out. We can close out with that. We can close out with that cliffhanger because I'm
trying
like,
to have a tough question tonight. I'm trying to throw out the tough ones tonight, man.
On this good Saturday, we just got back, and this is how you gonna do us. I've been laid up, and
Look,
this is how you
man,
gonna do it.
I think a guy like Nipsey Hussle could have got into politics. He could have gotten into great things. He could have been a real figure out here if he just left the fucking hood, man.
Yep.
That's why I stand with it.
And we have a lot of stories like that.
Very
Intelligent brother. Had a look, everything. He had everything. He needed to get out of that, man. But he didn't.
Didn't what's his Jesse Jackson start that? African Americans, wasn't it him? That's why
him. Okay.
African American, Steve. Jesse Jackson started. He thought it would be cool. Andro Libre says, I lived across the U.S. Only thing I've seen constant in black hoods are WIC centers, very prominent Planned Parenthood buildings, double-decker McDonald's, and streets named after civil rights figures.
Damn.
He said something that was very interesting. He said in the Navy, I saw Caribbean brothers from different islands instantly connect. Koreans from opposite coasts instantly connected. But blacks from different cities and coasts, we weren't the same.
And I keep saying black people, a lot of black people don't like black people. I keep saying it. I mean, we can look at any comment section on any page, on any Instagram, and we will see that. No matter how positive it is, the comments are going to be like 90% negative, just because they can just say good morning and it's going to be negative, you know. But then Vicky can get up there and then everyone's going to share it, and they're going to stitch it, and they're going to sing along with her, you know.
I hear what you're saying. I try to dissect this. When it comes to like Koreans getting together, you know, they have a common culture that they brought from a land where the culture was kind of the same. When you come to here, we have so many regional cultures. Even white people, we have regional cultures, you know, and not just, and maybe this is getting too far into the weeds, but I'm thinking not everybody that were coming from Africa, even from the same tribes or countries. So they might've brought their own cultures from there too. So to try to relate, to try to sit there and say, well, the Chinese people or the Korean people get together, but they actually came from a country that had the same exact culture, you know, and a lot of them are first or second generation.
So do the black people from different cities. They listen to the same rappers, they eat the same food, they have the same complexion, they wear the same.
Maybe a majority. I mean, I'm just thinking from where I'm from. It's totally different. The people, black culture down here is totally different because it's a different.
No, I'm addressing what Andre Libro said about black people from different cities. Literally in America, if you go to Chicago, if you go to New York, if you go to Connecticut, and you ask a black person, have you seen Baby Boy 5 times? All of them say yes. Have you seen Boys in the Hood at least 10 times, shorty? Okay. Do you eat fried chicken? Yes. You like, yes.
Have you seen Power? Are you waiting for the new season of Power?
However, there are small
section. So there's a lot in common.
However, there are small differences. An LA dude might wear his, pants a certain way from a New York motherfucker. You know what I mean? There are small differences, but overall, we do merge on, lanes in many ways.
I understand that. I mean, but I'm even thinking about what you say. Like black people from Jamaica that are in New York, they have a Jamaican culture. You know what I mean? It's like so there are differences, And it's not, and so that's what I'm saying, to say that and to say, well, Koreans all get together, but they have a similar culture, complete similar culture. You know, I imagine, I'm sure there's some slight differences depending on where you're from in that country, but
Well, here's the problem, man.
My way 23, I'm always serious. Can't you tell? I'm always serious. Ask me to elaborate. What would you like me to elaborate on? Yes, I'm serious. Hi, Sherelle. Hey, Mama.
Here's
what did you say?
the issue. I'm not saying ask a particular question. I'm going to answer it. In Jamaican culture and Caribbean culture, period, man. I'll just say it. Yeah, a lot of Jamaicans and a lot of Caribbeans, they do perceive Black Americans as lazy. They do perceive them as degenerate. They do perceive them as all of the things that, and the irony is that all of the things that you cling, or Black people cling to here, people around the world perceive you in the same manner. And you're upset with the perception, but you still engage in the exercise. So it's like, it's very confusing, because it's like, okay, if you don't want me to perceive you like this, why aren't you doing something to change your brand? Why aren't you doing something to change the trajectory of your culture?
Right.
If you
and that's why I was saying, and that's why I was saying earlier, like, we cannot have it both ways. It's impossible, right? No matter who you are. So the fact that we want to portray ourselves to the world, like, you do know the world's watching, right? Like, it's just like the criminals that be on here talking about, you know, I shot 9 people and I buried them right under the house, right here, you know?
And dig this, Lily. Hold on. My Way 23 said, wow, Jen. So I assume you drive an 03 Nissan Altima with tinted windows and 22-inch rims with a house speaker in the back. Here's the thing. A lot of Puerto Ricans do. You see how easy that is for me? Listen, a lot. See, y'all are afraid of stereotypes. I'm not afraid of stereotypes. I said I eat rice and beans almost every day. Okay, I do it 3 times a fucking day if I could. Okay, see, muy boricua que soy. Yes, a lot of Puerto Ricans drive the Nissan with the tinted windows and the speaker in the back. So if you assume that, you'd have a 50% chance of being right. Right?
Exactly.
Now I don't, but you still got a 50% chance of being right. I'm not afraid of stereotypes. People do what people do. That's life. Okay.
So Israel, you knew Dudas, Israel? Because he had a friend, his name Dudas from Jamaica. He was gangster as fuck. If he knows if it's the Dudas that he's talking about, I know who he's talking about, and it's fun, and that's kind of funny if you knew that dude. Anyway, but you know what I mean.
My boyfriend was not able to spend the night in my parents' house. My father would have put a bullet in his ass. No,
right, and my thing is,
really that's really not a good speech. Jen will let it happen too. She'll let that shit happen.
I ain't getting involved, girl.
Now, I've never had an issue with stereotypes either, because like a lot of them, they come, like, stereotypes are like cliches. They're there for a reason, right? And either, like, some of them I fit in, some of them I don't. Either the shoe fits or it don't. It's just that damn simple.
Stereotypes, in a sense, are just exaggerated truths. That's it. It's just exaggerated truths. Look, a lot of the stereotypes that we have with Blacks and whites, it is true. Technically speaking, they say white people have no rhythm. Well, here's the thing. From a music perspective, it's not that they don't have any rhythm. It's just that Black people and Caribbean people, we move and count on the 2 and the 4. You know what I mean? We clap on the 2 and the 4. They clap on the 1 and the 3. So it looks awkward to us. It was like, what the fuck is that?
And the 7.
That's why. Exactly. So they count on the 1 and the 3. So to us, it's like, why is he doing that? You know what I mean? But it's the truth. A lot of them do that.
You know what? Let's test that real quick before we get out of here. Let's test that. I'm going to play some music, No Saint. I want you to groove along, okay? I'm about to play some music.
He's already being white. He
We're
already
ready for
being white.
I'm just gonna play a little bit of music. You just groove along. We're all gonna groove along. Come on, No Saint. Ready? Come on, No Saint. We need some body movement, No Saint. We need some body movement.
He's like, that's all I got. He said, that's all I got. He said, that's all I got.
Right.
See, guys, there's nothing wrong with stereotypes.
Listen, you that's really funny because my middle child and my youngest, especially my youngest, he can dance, and he got that from his mama.
See?
In the middle too. My poor oldest.
He got it from you. He got the white side.
He got it from me. And I just I just can't move my body the way it's supposed to look. I don't know what to say. It just is what it is.
It is what it is. You know, and just to prove before we get out of here that people are attracted to the bullshit. When I first went to that dude's page, the Tut Tarantino, no lying, no exaggeration, this dude had about 2,000 something subscribers.
Now he's got like 7 something. I peeped that when we was looking at the thing.
Now he has how many, Lily?
Last time when I looked at the thing that you played, it was 7,000 something. Because I thought I looked at that because I wanted to see that too. Because yes, we like the bullshit.
Yeah, when I first went to his page, he had 2,000 something. You're right. Now he's at 7,733. His spins have gone way up. So if Michael Irvin's point was to say he was a poser, apparently people like that style of, I don't know what to call it. I will say, thank you, Fighter Complex. Tell them, baby. I crashed right through that wall, bitch. Ain't no wall stopping me. What happened?
The wall is an illusion.
That's right, baby. I'm crashing right through that wall, bitch. Ain't no wall stopping me. I don't hit walls. I go through them. What's up, baby? Good to see you. So I will say this about the dude. You know, be very careful because I'm sure the people in his entourage, more than likely, are really about that life. Okay.
True.
We've seen a couple of them get killed this year and last year that were like, oh, you wasn't even that guy. But they was at that place at that time with the real killers and the ones who didn't grow up in gated communities with a lot less to lose, who aren't going to have the shiny lawyers. So I would just say to the kid, be very, very careful. You're all brandishing guns. Okay. You got the AKs scrolling. Just be very, very careful, especially when you're not built for that life. Because here's the thing. Them barracudas, them snakes, okay, them sharks around you, they know you're not built for that life, and they know that you come from money. And one thing about us, boy, when we got a poser in the group and we some scheming motherfuckers, send that nigga in. He'll do it.
Oh right? Yeah, we definitely. You gonna be the new plug for everything.
Yep.
We gonna extort.
That was the story of Tekashi. That was the story of Tekashi 6ix9ine. That was literally his story.
That's exactly what it was.
Because while you think you being down, the real people are talking about you.
Absolutely.
And them dudes have nothing to lose. Nothing. So be very careful.
Look, listen, there's a motherfucker.
Four, bitch. It was 4 of us collect the EBT. 4.
Right.
Not 3.
Exactly.
4.
Get it right. And wick. And some good wick.
All right? That cheese ain't that I couldn't get the fucking Fruity Pebbles. I had to get the Kicks. Who the fuck eats Kicks?
I remember Kicks.
That's a funny thing. Black Lexicon said. He said Heron favored the rhythm. That's really funny because when I hear music, I only hear a groove. I only hear like even when I hear notes, I only hear the groove of something like time. Like what's the time of it? That's a very good observation.
Yeah, he was saying that Jen and Lily favored the bass, and I favored the high pitched sounds or something.
Well, women like low notes. That's why they're like men with growly voices, and women like low notes. So,
that's why I was saying the other day I miss R&B I miss R&B male singers that didn't have a high pitch like light voice. I miss the deep voice male singers.
Yo, this asshole. First of all, I went to New Orleans and I made some rice and beans for my baby. She pulled out that 50-pound bag.
Well, we had the 50-pound bag back in the day. So Jamaicans do the same shit. Like, look,
I was just about to say. So I live in a Puerto Rican neighborhood, like Puerto Rican Muslim neighborhood, right? So like the store, there's two stores when you go to the corner. There's like the Muslim one is like a block away, but the Puerto Rican one is right there. When you walk in, the first thing you see is the 50-pound bag of rice and the Brastillo. Brastillo was there too. Brastillo, yes.
Okay, but listen, I got bougie coming to Nevada, and I buy the little bags of rice. I just buy the little bags. I don't do the 50-pound bag.
Don't cheat yourself. Treat yourself.
His father rims cost more than his car.
Did it?
See,
my dad wasn't a flashy Rican. He was about buying businesses, and he did for the record. He wasn't in the rims. He wasn't like the flashy, slippery shoe bottom Puerto Rican. I know which Puerto Ricans he's talking about though, but
that's like a lot of the Dominicans too. Dominicans be doing that flashy, pretty. Them some pretty motherfuckers.
That's the Chancletas Puerto Ricans.
Yeah, yo, let me say, the Dominicans ruined it doing their eyebrows. That's when they killed the game.
Right. Baby, them eyebrows be snatched. They be.
Nah, them motherfuckers killed it with the eyebrows and the aviators, and the aviators with the collared shirt, the tight ass collared shirt that hung the shoulders and shit like that, and all them shits was either pink, baby blue, or yellow. Only those three colors.
But you know what? Shout out to my Dominican brothers when I used to go to the barbershop and pay for their hair.
By the complex, by the cuss I
get it. Shout out to my Dominican brothers. I'd be in the barbershop.
Fight a Dominican?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's Dominican. His eyebrows aren't done either, so he don't fit the stereotype.
You don't wear the Guess shirt like with the Gucci pants and the slippery bottoms.
No, every Dominican nigga I went to fucking high school with wore that shit damn near at least once.
That's a fucking lie. That's a fucking lie. We had to go to school.
Just clean your room and watch novellas. Why do I love racist jokes? I'm such a fucking asshole.
A lot of this should be true, man.
That's why I love them.
The novelas was dope. You know which one I love?
They are dope.
Dos mujeres, un camino. That novela was dope. Don't front.
So because I can't understand what they're saying, I give them a whole storyline. Like I be having a whole storyline, like dead ass. Like when the next episode come, I remember where I left off. I remember who cheated on you, right? I remember what secret they told. I remember what secret you're supposed to be holding. Like I have a whole storyline with these people.
Antonio, me vas a dejar por ella.
And they do that. They do that.
I remember Living Color had that fucking skit about the Jamaicans with jobs.
Yeah, I was thinking about that.
No, actually, this shit is really not that big of. It's really not that big of a lie. You know what I mean? It's really not that big of a stretch. Meanwhile, my mother and I are laughing at it, and she has like 3 jobs while we're both laughing at it.
Haitians too. Haitians was like that too.
Same way, jobs on jobs on jobs.
Yo, like you had to get it. Like I work. That's why we have that kind of work ethic, and they instilled it in us. Like What do you mean you're lazy? Like, listen, like shit like that is actually true in West Indian households, man.
It's true. It's true.
My way. I hope you subscribed, you asshole, so you could come
I
back.
know, right?
Subscribe, you ass. Hit that like for me, okay? A lot of y'all lurking. My likes ain't up. I'm feeling a ways. Leave comments on this. We are back, people. Please look out for us this week. We got a lot of hot shit coming. The interview with Big Daddy Kane, Lily and I starting Sisterhood 6. We're talking about we dated the same guy and fucked him. And we compare notes. So tune into that first episode out the gate. We got a lot of juicy shit coming. Please check our community tabs and follow everybody on the screen because we all got content coming. Okay. And good night, guys. Thank you for being here with us and thank you for coming back, even though we took a week off from you. And we will see y'all soon. Why y'all hate y'all uncles and stepfathers? First of all, I love my father.
He said we fight a complex and be messy.
You say shit about your uncle.
A little bit.
We've been gone for a minute now. We back with the jump off.
Okay.
Are we coming back tomorrow or we just gonna wait till Monday? How we doing this?
We could come back Monday. Shit, I'm even thinking coming back Tuesday because that Monday be dry as fuck.
And I was wondering how you made it to come on tonight because I know after a long trip after a week, I need a day or two to get it together.
You know what? I slept in really late today though.
Okay. I slept until you called me.
I woke up and I was like, all right, let's get back to it. Plus, we got to rev up for the week that's coming up. We dropping a lot of content this week coming up. Fighter Complex, thank you for the super chat. Yes, we are messy as fuck. It is true.
We can't help it.
All right, guys, we are out. Muchos besos. All right. Hit that like and subscribe on your way out from Mama. We will see you on Monday. Check our community tab. We got a lot of content coming this week. All right. Good night.
Good night.
Good night.
Don't forget Cash App on the block with Jen. If you enjoyed this content, I loved having you. But you know, Mama got to pay the bills too to keep the street lights on. All right, guys. Good night. Bye. Get out of here. Go.